Hello student, welcome to the final lesson, which is binomial nomenclature. The present system of naming organisms was developed by Carolus Linnaeus in the 18th century. It involved giving organisms two names in Latin language. Generally, living organisms have their common and scientific names. Their common names are the local names by which they are known in different localities or communities. For example, cockroach is the English name for insect found in cracks of houses. The same insect is known as olwenda in the Luo community, nyenje in Gikuyu, and kombamwiko in Swahili language. That means if scientists were to use the local names, they would not be able to communicate with each other easily. Hence, sharing scientific information and knowledge would be difficult. This created a need to develop a scientific system of naming organisms, that is, scientific names. The scientific names are valid names by which organisms are known all over the world. And an organism is given a specific name adopting two names. And that is what we call double naming or binomial nomenclature. So, binomial nomenclature is actually the double naming of organism or assigning organism two names. That is the genus name beginning and followed by the species name. The assigning of scientific names to living organisms is governed by a set of rules which are internationally accepted. These are what we are calling the principles of binomial nomenclature. They include, the first is that the first part of the scientific name is that of the genus, and it should start with a capital letter. And the second is the specific name and should be written in small letters. Example is this: the lion, or the scientific name of a lion is Panthera leo. That of a leopard is Panthera pardus. That of a domestic cat is Canis familiaris. You can see the genus name is starting with a capital letter and the rest are written in small letters. The same thing to this Panthera pardus and Canis familiaris. The first letters are in uppercase or capital. The human being is Homo sapiens, that is its scientific name, and that of a maize is the maize. Now, from this information we have here, lion belongs to the genus Panthera, and it indicates that the lion and the leopard, though they belong to the same genus of Panthera, they are two different species of animals. You can see lion is species leo and leopard is species pardus. That means even these organisms, even if they are of the same genus, they cannot reproduce a fertile offspring. They are of different species. The second rule is that the scientific name should be printed in italics in printed books and in handwritten manuscripts and in handwritten manuscripts. But in handwritten manuscripts, they should be underlined separately. Look at mine here. This work is typed and if it should be printed, they should appear in italicized. But if you are writing yours, then underline separately. The scientific names is sometimes written with the name of the scientist who first and adequately described and named the organism for the first time. For example, Balanus balanoides linears is a common barnacle that was first described by a scientist called Linnaeus. So this is a common barnacle first described by a scientist called Linnaeus. So the name or the scientific name is attached, the name of the scientist who described it for the first time. And finally, biologists must give Latinized or Latin name for a newly described animal or plant species in case the Latin name is missing. For instance, Meladogene kikuyuensis is the scientific name of a nematode from Kikuyu, while Aloe kilifiensis is a member of Alocaceae family that was first discovered in Kilifi. So there must be a Latinized name, as you have seen here, for those newly described organisms. So we have come to the end of our topic. Thank you for paying attention. I believe by going through this assignment, you will be able to test and gauge yourself. Have a good time, and I will always remind you that you are a great achiever. Goodbye.